All right, we are live. Welcome everybody. Sunny days in Flushing, opening day 2024. Definitely not the first time we've gotten rained out, especially for a home opener.
Back-to-back years, actually. Pretty sure that
Yeah.
they got rained out for the home opener last year.
Yes.
Actually, it
Yes.
even rained on opening day in Miami last year. I was there. I got soaked on before we went in the game.
But I was about to say they're in a
They
dome,
have a
right?
dome, yeah, so it didn't matter. But we got soaked on. We got soaked before we went in there.
How are the vibes today, Bass? How are we? How are we feeling?
Vibes are great. Vibes are great. A lot of good games. I mean, I was watching a little bit of the Orioles and Angels. Actually, caught quite a few innings of that, and that was a really good game. I mean, Astros Yankees was a really good game too. I mean, I didn't get to watch any of it, but I did get to listen to some of it on the radio.
That went back and forth. Astros almost won there.
Yeah, I mean,
Tied
Yankees ended up pulling it out, and then the Pirates Marlins that went to extras. I was keeping tabs on that. Bunch of good games. It was awesome to see. It's great to have baseball back, and just so excited for tomorrow. Thank God we got the early game too.
Pirates game. Pirates game was a nice finish to it. I totally forgot Aroldis Chapman.
I forgot he was on the Pirates too. Holy crap!
Yeah, I totally forgot. He is a Pittsburgh Pirate, which is kind of nuts. But
No.
I for some reason I thought he had went to the Royal. Or that was
last year. Yeah, it was last year. That's what I was thinking too. I was like racking my brain. I was like, where the hell is where did I think he was?
You talk about careers that have like fallen off a cliff. That's one of the first guys I think of.
You know what's funny? He was pretty good last year for the Royals. It's just he's just not in the spotlight anymore. I mean, really, with the Yankees, it was bizarre. He was really good and then really bad. Yeah. And then since he's been off the Yankees, he's been pretty solid. So I mean, he's not a bad pitcher. It's just
he's not the phenom though. Like when you think of like, at least when I think of Aroldis Chapman, I think of like I guess 2019. 2020.
Oh, the flamethrower that was throwing 103, 104. Yeah. I mean, that's what you think of. And you don't really have that anymore with him.
Right.
But I mean, the dude's still going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, he still
has. You think so? You think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think he has 300 plus saves. You know? Let me look it up real quick. But I'm pretty sure he's got over 300 saves. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a shoo-in.
Nonetheless, definitely sucks when you're rained out on opening day.
Nah, we'd love to see him today, but here's what it is.
The SpongeBob meme of Squidward looking out the window, watching SpongeBob and Patrick like run and play in his front yard. 321. That's awesome. That meme is kind of where Mets fans are at today.
100%.
Regardless of where you are on the outlook of this team, if you see them as a fringe playoff contender or you see them as a 77 win team or a 93, 94 win team, you're still excited for opening day. It's almost like a holiday in a sense.
Yeah.
And you really do feel and like I guess it's blind hope or just like I guess maybe head in the clouds, but like truly every fan base can feel good relatively about opening day. And it sucks when you're not playing on it. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks when you're away, but it really sucks when you're not playing on it.
Agreed. And, you know, it is what it is. At least we get tomorrow. We got 3 days of baseball in a row. Well, more than 3 days of baseball in a row. But, you know, and it's on a Friday, too. You know, hopefully we get to celebrate a win and go out for some drinks after, you know?
Right.
Not have to worry about the consequences the next day.
And for those of you that are now tuning in, we will be going to the game Saturday. We're going to be with a big crew, close to 40 of us. We're going to be in the Pork Chop Hill bus lot.
I think we're in section 523.
Yeah,
we're in the upper tank, row 7. Come say hi if you see us.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll be a bunch of loud idiots, so
probably relatively intoxicated. So
we'll be hard to miss. So
we will be hard to miss. If you're passing by the lot, definitely come on over. We got plenty of beers. Have a beer, have a piece of sandwich, say hello. Reminisce a little bit and look ahead to 2024. So on that note, we're talking the Mets. We're talking 2024. We had said it, I believe, on our first episode, but let's get back into it. Because now things have changed, right? JD Martinez is here. Still kind of unclear on what's going to happen with Senga, but the vibe seems to be positive on him. Where do we see this team? I believe the over-under before JD was at 84.5 wins or
Yeah.
83.5 wins. So
Yeah, I'm sure it went up a couple games, maybe 85, 86.5. I haven't looked at the line. But
Okay.
I have him right now. I put out a little tweet earlier, going through a list of the record, MVP, least valuable player, so on and so forth. I put them at 89 and 73. I think they're going to come out and shock people. I think they're going to 89 wins. I think they're going to come out and shock people. I think the rotation might be a little bit of a weak spot. I think we kind of saw that as spring progressed, how the rotation kind of really wasn't as strong as it looked in the early parts of spring. But okay. I think Severino was very good. Manaea, we know what he was. He was very solid throughout all spring training. I think the bullpen is going to be proved to be a huge strength of this team, and I think their lineup is better than it has been since Steve Cohen's on the team.
Duran Rivera chiming in here in the comments. 86 wins. I think I'm there with you, Mr. Rivera. I think I'm there with you. It really all depends. It really, I think that there's a good amount of firepower. Yeah. I think offensively, he's chiming in again here. Bullpen, good. Defense improved. The defense is definitely improved.
100%. That's a big thing.
Harrison Bader in center is definitely an upgrade over Nimmo, and Nimmo has turned himself into a legitimate major league center fielder. Yeah. So now you're moving him over to left. You still have Lindor at short. Alvarez has gotten significantly better behind the plate, just from what we've seen in spring training.
What, 9 of 13?
Right. Beatty's looked all right. Jeff McNeil is going to play that same solid play at second base. So, yeah, I think defensively you've got a good defensive front here in Queens. And there's definitely some hope there that could definitely help be a deciding factor in a lot of games this season. No. I'm right there with you. My concern is this rotation, and it's going to be like we got to see it to believe it. Severino's got the stuff, but can he do it on a consistent basis? No. Can he stay healthy enough to give us 25, 26 outings? I mean, if you tell me by the end of the regular season, he pitched, 165 innings and we got 26, 25 starts out of him, I would take that. Given his track record
100%.
The past couple of years, I would take that.
Agreed.
Quintana, the opening day starter, he's going to give you, 3.5 ERA. He's going to be your solid middle of the road starter.
Yeah, he's going to be a middle of the rotation guy,
Right. And
I think it really kind of hinges on Severino and how Senga looks when he comes back. If Senga can get back to what he was
when Senga comes back.
When he comes back. Yeah, exactly. I think I expect him back in the end of May, maybe beginning of June. But, if the Mets can tread water until that point, I think they could really benefit from him. Obviously, but they'll benefit hugely if he can come back and, get back to form, pitch how he did last year and maybe even improve a little bit. Because, he was very good last year, but some of the starts were shaky. His control was an issue. And if he could really grow upon that and develop more control and just develop more as a pitcher here in the States, it's going to be huge for this team.
Duran, to comment on you in the 86 wins. So, Bass, you were at 89?
89 and 73.
I think, I'm in between 84, 86. I'll say 85 wins.
The way I look at this is it's hard to just compare apples to apples. You can't just say, oh, this Pete Alonso to Pete Alonso, Verlander to this guy. But if you look at it on paper, this team is better than it was last year.
There's so
based
many
off what we got. Because Verlander was a
there's
dud.
So many uncertainties on this team.
100%.
You have no idea. You have a good feeling about the superstars we had named. Pete's in a walk year. This guy's going to put 50 over he's going to put a minimum of 45 over the fence.
He's going to go and ball out.
If Alvarez stays healthy and plays 65% of the time, 70% of the time, he's going to put over 28, 29 home runs over the fence.
Yeah.
Lindor is good for close to 30. So
it's good for 30.
Especially as the weather heats up, he's going to be putting them over the fence. At some point, we're probably going to see Drew Gilbert up here. Who knows what we got out of Marte? Like we said before, I think that guy's on a very short leash. I think it's going to be he's going to get April, May, maybe some of June.
Yeah,
If
we'll see what
he's
happens.
below the Mendoza line, I think he's gone, and Gilbert's getting his chance out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
Here's something we didn't discuss it beforehand, but I think you could do this on the fly.
Yeah.
Looking around at the rest of the NL East,
Yep.
the Washington Nationals are still rebuilding. Miami Marlins are who knows, but I
They're
wasn't
solid.
convinced.
They're going to be a pesky little team to deal with, but they're not going to go out there and do anything really.
I was
They're
not
going to finish
convinced.
at or
I,
below
I,
500.
I was not convinced by anything I saw by them last year, and to a degree, they did fizzle out a little bit. Who is your biggest worry in this division? Is it Atlanta or is it Philly? And before you give your answer, we're not talking playoffs, just strictly winning the division. Because as good as I think the Mets will be this year, or as good as they can be, they're not going to be good enough to win the division. I think we know that.
No.
They're going to have to sneak in through a wild card spot, unless you think otherwise.
No, I don't think they're going to win the division. The Braves are too good, and that's who scares me the most is the Braves, because the Phillies, for whatever reason, we always play well, and we always go out there and we quiet those bats, and we just end up winning against them. The Braves is another story. They're our kryptonite. What's up, Stevie? Whenever we play them, it seems like it goes to shit. Whether they're in a slump and we're their slump buster, or we're slumping, it just, rolls and rolls. It's like shit rolling downhill, with them. And I'm petrified of them. They have a murderer's row of a lineup, and their pitching is top notch. It's tough to not peg them as a 100-win team.
Is Strider considered their ace, or is it like Max Fried?
Strider's considered a top five pitcher in the MLB right now.
So he's their ace, I guess.
He's 100%. He's their ace. Max Fried is right behind him.
Ironically, Strider has like an 8-something ERA against the Mets. He is awful every time he sees us.
I think more
awful.
specifically in Citi Field too.
Yeah, he's definitely not good in Citi Field. I know that, but the few times the past couple of years we've won down in Atlanta, he was on the mound. And honestly, that's a really fun feud. I hope he does stay there for a long time, because I think, especially as the Mets get better, that's going to be a really fun feud as time goes on. And I think the Mets, you hate the Phillies, but like there's a tension between the Mets and the Braves. No matter how bad either team is or how good either team is, it is always a very low-key, heated rivalry. And I think like a lot of fan bases around baseball that maybe don't watch a lot of NL East, if you're on the west coast of the country or the middle, maybe you're watching probably Braves games, but maybe not so much Mets games. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a rivalry. Like when both teams are good, and I'm not comparing it to Yankees Red Sox in any way, although I would say that's our version of the Red Sox.
I'd argue it's the Phillies, but
you think so?
I mean, that New York Philly rivalry, it's classic. It's all sports,
I feel it, man. Like every single time we're playing the Braves, to me, it feels like a playoff game. And maybe it's just like
maybe it's the fans aspect.
Maybe it's the fans, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the players I guess for all of those games, but I feel like you feel it more with the Phillies. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Phillies are like
a
thorn in your side. The Phillies are a thorn in your side, but the Atlanta Braves are the bully, like knocking you out and taking your lunch money. Like that's how I view the Braves, because the Braves have won. They've won recently, although I think the Braves are kind of now this team until they prove otherwise.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of crazy to say because they just won in 2021, but like, that's 3 years ago now. Like the past 2 years, they've been one and done in the playoffs. Like I don't have a fear of seeing. I would rather see them in October than see them in like July. I'll be honest with you.
The Braves?
The Braves.
Yeah, I mean,
I truly would.
When they won the World Series, what was it, 19 or 21 when they won it?
21.
So other than that year, I mean, last year they were a first-round exit. The year before, they were also a first-round exit. Yeah, both years, So, I mean, I think that lineup is it's tough. It's
devastating. It's a devastating lineup. No doubt about it.
Wow.
Mets haven't beaten the Braves in the playoffs since '69.
Well, that's a little bit that's a little shitty here.
Fuck that. I don't give a shit.
Fuck 'em.
I'd so much rather see this Braves team in October than in the middle of July because they kick
Yeah.
our ass all season. But it's just like when the lights come. I also feel that too about the Braves. Is that like I feel like sometimes when the lights come on for them, they don't always deliver.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just where I'm at. But I'll be honest with you. I think going into this year, I think I'm a little more worried about Philadelphia than I am Atlanta. Because I just think where Atlanta's gone the past 2 years, they've had these monster. They're almost like the East Coast Dodgers. They have these monster regular seasons,
Yeah.
and then in the playoffs they lose
They
to a
shit the
team
bed.
that wins 85 games, 88 games. Like to me, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy how they do that. And the Dodgers are famous for doing that too. So like for me, I'm more worried, I think, of the Phillies. I think the Phillies have a lineup that's really like either like feast or famine.
Yeah.
They're either gonna pummel you or they're gonna have like 15
Who,
strikeouts.
the Phillies?
Yeah.
Nah. I mean, you got one of the most underrated baseball players in the league, which is crazy to say, and Bryce Harper in that lineup. I mean, someone who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer and is 2-time MVP. They have a great lineup. They have a great team, the Phillies. But just for some reason, I'm not scared of them. I'm scared of the Braves.
Okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
Let's go on to some predictions, award predictions.
Yep.
Let's start with a fun one. Most improved player of 2024. What do you think, Bass?
Most improved player, most improved breakout, or are we talking breakout, or just guys that are stepping their game up?
I mean, you could call it a kid coming up from the minors because that's an improvement. Yeah. You could call it a guy that had a bad season last year.
Yeah.
Whatever you think.
I'm gonna go and kind of bundle my two together, my breakout and my most improved. It's gonna be Brett Baty. I really think he's someone that has a sweet swing, and when he makes contact, it's loud. And you saw him kind of develop a little bit of that confidence throughout, between the middle to towards the end of spring, and really just start to, put the ball in play and really drive the ball in the air and into the outfield more. And he's someone that I think just needs time. He needs to be playing every day, and we're gonna have to grind through, and we're gonna have to, sift through all the shit that he's gonna put out there to get to the gold, which is going to be him at his best. And I think maybe the first month might be rough. Maybe it won't be. But I think we're going to have to sit and wait with him. And we're not going to know right away. It's not going to be – I don't think he's going to come out of the gates blazing. We're going to be lukewarm about him throughout the first month, I think. Okay. But I think he's someone that could really develop.
Well, we got to give him time. I mean –
we do.
You sent Vientos down – I think that kind of sends a message to Baty, like third base is your position to lose.
Yeah.
Like shit or get off the pot. Figure it out or we got to move you. And but at the same rate, you've got to give him time. No. And now when I say give him time, that doesn't mean he could bat 185 by Father's Day and let's still trot him out there. Like, no, that's a fucking problem. At that point, you're not getting it.
No, exactly.
There's got to be little things that we see, but I'm with you. I want to see this kid lift the ball, and you did kind of start to see that toward the end of spring training.
You did.
And he's made some plays in the field, which is great. So yeah, I think that's a good candidate for me. Most improved player, and probably someone I'm just banking on. Sevy. I think Sevy has the chance to really, first of all, from a financial standpoint, make himself a ton of money next year, whether it's with us or somewhere else. He has been given a golden opportunity by the New York Mets to come out and show he's still got it, that he has not fallen off, and that he is capable of pitching at a high level and pitching at a high level in a place that it's probably one of the most difficult to do it in, right? In New York.
And he's done it.
And he has done it. He's done it in the past, but he's got an opportunity this year to do it on a week-to-week basis.
Yep.
And ultimately, I think his health is a major factor. If he's healthy,
100%. Yeah, he will be healthy.
He will be a guy that is pitching to a sub-3 ERA and on his way to $25 million plus a year after that.
That's what you hope.
That's what I hope for, and that's what I'm banking on. That's what I believe in. Now that doesn't mean I think he'll be a Met the entire season, and that leads us into another segment. But in terms of most improved player, my guy, Luis Severino, 100%.
Yeah.
And I guess more of a I'm banking on it type thing.
Yeah.
But
No, I love that pick of Luis Severino. We'll get to it later on, but I have him somewhere else in my list.
well, we might as well. I think I know, unless I'm wrong. Let's see if I'm wrong. Cy Young, who's the best pitcher on this team this year, Bass?
It's Luis Severino. Oh, we're talking starters. It's Luis Severino. I think he's going to have an awesome year. I think we've seen it with him when he first came up. He was an electric starting pitcher. He really he went out there and he was a Cy Young candidate for a couple of years. He was an all-star, and he's just someone that kind of fell apart to injuries and just hasn't been able to bounce back and put it all together since then. It seems like his confidence has gone shaken. And I think last year he pitched most of the year, but a big problem was he was just god awful. But he's someone that has the stuff. The Mets seem to have, at least through spring training, gotten these guys on the right track. And I think he's someone that could really shock people this year. Not even just like, he had a good year, a good bounce back year. No, I think he can shock people and legitimately get Cy Young votes. Not just be the Mets Cy Young.
Stevie Mack chiming in here. He thinks Severino or Jorge Lopez. That was a few minutes ago, so I'm assuming that was
a breakout player.
Improved. Yeah,
or most improved. Yeah, most improved. Yeah.
So
I like Jorge Lopez too. He's going to be a good
Jorge
back
Lopez
into the rotation guy.
He's a guy that's got the stuff. He's a guy that's got the stuff too. And Duran Rivera chiming in too. Sevy got over sleep issues and is pitching in a pitcher-friendly park. Absolutely, absolutely, he is. Cy Young. I'm going to give this to a guy that is not a starter, and it's Edwin Diaz. I think he's picked up where he left off in 2022. I think this guy is pitching for fucking blood. He got his contract. He got his recognition. I got a little tip from a local 3 electrician the other day that there will be a light show when Edwin Diaz comes out of the bullpen.
That's sick.
Every game this year. So that's going to be really exciting. They replaced everything with LEDs at Citi Field. So it's going to be a show when
keep going on 1 second.
Oh, that's wonderful. When I'm kidding with you, Zach. It is going to be a light show every time Edwin Diaz comes out of the bullpen. That's really exciting. That's cool for everybody showing up at Citi Field. And that's my guy that I think is going to win Cy Young. That's a guy that throws hard. The fans love him. They embrace him. There is an electricity when you hear Narcos or Narco. Is it Narco?
Is it Narco?
I always forget if there's an S at the end. But regardless,
I'll look it up right now.
You hear Timmy trumpets. You know what it is. The crowd gets up. We usually bring the Puerto Rican flag to the game. Sometimes security yells at me.
You're right. It's Narco.
Narco.
Yeah.
But
we'll see this year. Maybe they'll confiscate it. Maybe they won't.
They better not confiscate it. No, in all seriousness, that's my Cy Young candidate. The guy legitimately was talked about as a Cy Young candidate for Major League Baseball in 2022. I mean, that's how good that guy was.
Yeah. Did he
You're
get
talking
votes?
about. I don't know if I can't speak to if he got votes, but I remember reading articles at the end of the season talking about him potentially being a candidate. And this is a guy on a 101 win team in 2022 saved, I think, 33 games, 38 games, whatever it was.
Mid to high 30s. And not only that, he came in the 8th inning, the 7th inning. Right. He came in high leverage situations when you were going up against, other teams, murderers row, the middle of their order.
100 innings as a closer that year.
Yeah.
So
he was used a ton.
That was awesome to see. Yeah. And I think he's just going to go right back to that. He looks every bit of what he was. Yeah. So I'm excited for him. Let's go into MVP of the season.
MVP, I mean, there's a bunch of guys you can pick from, and I think it's kind of obvious it's going to be almost a cop-out, but Pete Alonso. I think this is someone who last year put up over 40 home runs while injured. He had that hand injury after getting hit by a pitch on the hand. And I think he's someone that looked like he would get MVP votes last year. I think he's going to come out this year. He's going to ball out on that contract year. He's trying to get paid. He's going to go out and he's going to hit an absurd amount of home runs, and he's going to elevate his game. He's going to make more contact, and he's just going to be better overall at the plate.
Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
That's fair. I want to go with an obvious, maybe not an obvious. Yeah, you know what? So my thought process here is I want to be bold and I want to say Francisco Alvarez. I want to say that he's a guy that lights it up behind the dish and has such a big impact at the plate that we have to call him an MVP of this team by the end of the season. That's a lot to bank on. Not that I don't think he'll do it, but I almost think that I'm insulting this guy by not saying his name, Francisco Lindor.
Where's his jersey?
we know what Francisco is, okay? And if you don't by now, you're just not paying attention. He's a guy that starts slow. It's not going to shock me if at the end of April he's hitting 215. Like, that's not going to shock me. And that's okay because we know that. As the weather heats up, so does Francisco Lindor. This is a guy that's going to play immaculate defense, regardless of how bad his bat can look at times. And you know what? Sometimes I go too hard on Francisco, but I think I'm a very fair and in the middle guy about Lindor. I think when Lindor is cold, he's cold, and it hurts you to watch. It hurts to watch. It does. Right? When this guy is grounding into double plays, or striking out with a runner on third, that hurts to watch. And it's not just the contract. It's like it's what you know he can be. It's like watching Superman encounter kryptonite. That's really what it is. Like, this is a guy that is a superstar. He is a superstar in the game of baseball. He's a superstar in Puerto Rico. Like, this is a guy that's got swagger, has power, has speed. He is the total package when you think of a baseball player. And it sucks to see when this guy looks as bad as he does at times. But then you've got the upside of Francisco, and he looks like the best hitter in baseball. He looks like a guy you can't pitch to. You can't pitch around. You don't want to put him on the base paths because he's gonna fuck with. He's gonna fuck with these steal bases. So when this guy's hot, he's hot. I'm always gonna ride with Francisco.
Yeah.
And what I will say about him is that no matter how bad he ever looks, and there's been points since coming to New York where he has looked bad at the plate, his defense never shows the same.
No.
This is a guy that maintains gold, if anything, I will say platinum glove caliber defense at shortstop. And you know what? The only reason that man has not won a gold glove in a Mets uniform is because of two things: his contract and his batting average.
Yeah.
Okay? If this was a guy that was making $8 million a year and still playing in Cleveland, he'd still be winning gold gloves. Okay, there's no way. I believe Dansby Swanson won last year from the Cubs. I could be wrong about that, but I believe it was Swanson.
No, you're right.
There is no other shortstop in the National League, in my opinion, in baseball, that you could tell me is a better defender than this guy. This guy has saved. Yes, does he strike out? Does he ground into double plays? Yes, he does all those things. But this guy stops a lot of runs from coming across home plate. And it's not just with his arm. It's him diving for balls. He's a fantastic fielder. You can't say enough about him. And he's really taken on a leadership role.
He's a true leader in the clubhouse.
From what we've heard, in the clubhouse, he is
just the way he addresses the media, too. I mean, and what you're saying about his defense is great. His range is phenomenal. I mean, the only knock on him is his arm. He doesn't have the strongest of arms, but he makes up for it in his range and his ability to get the ball out quick. And his accuracy, too. And the thing, too, Duran just said, he was playing injured the past 2 years. He broke his finger in 2022. I think against the Dodgers, he got his finger jammed in a door. He still played 160 games. And last year,
and he's out there every day. Exactly.
He had like a ligament tear or something, maybe result of the door jam or something else. There was something he had surgery on this offseason. He still went out there. Did he play 162 last year? It was 162 or 161. So. It was one of the two. If anything, he missed 161. I think he missed one game last year, and he still went out there and played basically every game.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe this is someone, if he's not, like a little dinged up through, like actual injuries, maybe he's someone that plays better, early on in the season. His stats look better and just overall really makes everyone, not just people who sit there and watch all the games and understand with Francisco Lindor that the ends are going to justify the means. The end of the year, we're going to be like, all right, he was a great player. You know what I mean? I know some people get caught up in the day to day of it. It's not that case with him. It's a long season, and maybe he'll put it all together this year and play good from April through September.
So now I've got 2 questions for you here, Zach, and
Yep.
we've got a little bit of time left, and we've got a good amount of people viewing here. So if anybody else has some questions, throw them in the comments. We'll put them up on the screen like we did with Stevie Mac and Duran. First question is, who, if anyone, gets traded by the deadline?
Yeah, I think there's an easy one to point to, and it's Vientos. I tweeted this out. When did JD get signed? About a week ago. And when he got signed, I came to the conclusion that Vientos' time is pretty much done here. He almost serves no purpose, and I don't wish any ill will on him. I really do hope he succeeds down in AAA, and then wherever else he goes, whether that ends up being back up here with the big club or on another team. But I just don't see a place for him. He's not a third baseman. He's not a left fielder. He's a DH or a first baseman. And right now the DH hole is plugged by JD Martinez, probably going to be plugged by someone else come next year. And the first base hole plugged by Alonso this year and, hopefully for years to come. So I think at this point, he's going to end up being a sweetener and a deal at the deadline or in the offseason. And he's just going to be an add-on to really bump up the value to get someone in a position of need, whether that's a bullpen arm, whether that's another starting pitcher, whatever it may be.
I'm with you there. I think this is kind of it for Vientos.
Yeah.
Barring injury, knock on wood, I don't really see a world where it's valuable bringing him back up here. I think even if you do have an injury, I almost feel like I'd rather see G-Man Choi or DJ Stewart getting at bats. Like if we're talking about winning baseball games, I think I trust those 2 guys over Vientos. I've lost a lot of faith in him. And I mean, I said it once, I'll say it again. It's too much swing and miss. It's just too much swing and miss. Like people talk about the power, and yes, like
when he makes contact, it's loud.
The power's there, right? Like
it's the ball damn hard.
You talk about like if you look at a brand new Corvette that comes out of the dealer. It's loud, it's beautiful, it's powerful. But if you drain the oil out of the bottom of that engine, like it don't matter how much power's in that engine.
Yeah.
If there's no oil lubricating it, that's it. The car's not going to go anywhere. And that's where I'm at with Vientos. Like, yeah, man, you're strong and you want it. And I get it. You're not making contact. You're not making enough contact. And when you do, it's typically an out. He's got his home. Yeah, like I think the story of spring training, it tells it perfectly. Like, this is a guy that got more at-bats than anybody else in spring training.
Yeah. They gave him the real shot. They gave him
a legitimate shot.
They gave him the job.
They did. And they went out and they literally said, you know what? We'd rather spend 110% over what guys are worth. We'd rather pay JD Martinez $4.5 million, pay the MLB another $4.5 million in tax, than watch you come up and try to get a hit once every 9 batters this year. That's telling. Yeah. That's really telling, and I feel bad for the kid. Yeah. I think for me, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the Mets gave him every opportunity. They handed him the job, and they shut the door on it. And then he came out and kicked it right back open and basically walked JD Martinez into the clubhouse. I mean, and I think it was so telling with them sending him down to AAA when we know JD Martinez is not going to be ready for at least, I'd say, 2-ish weeks, until he gets ramped up and he's ready to go. It was telling when they sent him down. They want to keep his whatever value is left there, and they want him to get at bats. So hopefully maybe they can, extract as much value as possible from him for a trade.
Duran Rivera chiming in here. Vientos,
Vientos,
maybe
maybe
Drew
Drew Smith.
Smith. That's
I don't
a
think
good
Drew
point
Smith's
too.
gonna go.
I'm gonna get. I think he's gonna go. I just don't know that he'll get traded. I think he'll be so bad that I think he just
Yeah,
gets cut.
I don't think he's a trade candidate. And then, like we were just saying, with what's it called, Drew Smith, he's not someone that I think you can trade. Like, I also don't think Marte is someone you can trade. But while we're in the outfield, Bader, I think that's going to be a trade candidate for the Mets too. I think Drew Gilbert's knocking at the door, and I think he's going to come up and he's going to blow those doors off, and he's going to be up here. And I think one of these outfield guys are going to have to go, and you're not going to just get rid of a Tyrone Taylor who's going to be a good bench bat. You're going to get rid of someone like a Harrison Bader who has some value and some ability to start for another team.
I mean, you're paying Bader 1 year, $10 million. I think that there's, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe come July, August, I'm wrong. But I think that that was a guy that they signed kind of early, and they overpaid for. Like that is a lot of money for a guy that's. I mean, playing great defensive center field has value in this league, no doubt. But you typically don't see guys getting paid based on defense. They get paid on offense, and he's not really an offensive guy. I mean, he's had some spurts in his career. He's definitely been a Met killer when he was in St. Louis. But I disagree with that. I think Bader was brought in here to play center field, and I think that this was like almost a 1 year prove it, and I shouldn't say a 1 year prove it. I should really say like a 1 year similar to Severino, lift your value up. But I think that they were in a sweet spot of like, hey, we could improve and get a guy that's better defensively than Nimmo, but we could also keep Nimmo in the lineup every day by putting him at left field. And we don't have to sign this guy long term. We're paying a little more than I think he's worth, but we're only signing him to 1 year. You've got Gilbert coming up. You've got Jet Williams coming up, who's probably not going to play shortstop, probably not going to play second base at this point.
Maybe a center fielder.
Right? Maybe a center
fielder.
Maybe a right fielder. Maybe he plays center and Gilbert moves to right. Who knows? But I think that they're really going to give him a full chance. I think that they are going to do what they can to capitalize. Like I could see put it this way. I'll see Severino getting traded before I see Bader getting traded. And I mean that because I don't think Jet Williams is really going to be ready to come up this year. I think Gilbert will be. I don't think that Jet Williams will be. And so and I think Marte is going to get cut. Like my prediction is Marte's off this team before the 4th of July.
I think if this team is bad enough where we're talking trading guys like that, Marte's not tradable. And I think you just ride with him in left field until the end of the season.
Is bad,
you move Nimmo back to center and you trade Bader. Extract as much value if they really want to do that.
If the team is bad, then I mean, you could talk about anybody getting traded, and it would be a fair thing. But I still think even if they're good, I guess if they're good, it is crazy to see Sevy get traded. But like, if you're the Mets and you believe
they're competing, they're keeping him.
But
if he's good.
But at the same rate, you need to know what Mike Vassell and Christian Scott have, because that's going to determine what you could do next year. And I understand what you're saying. What you're probably going to say is you could move Hauser to the bullpen. You could do this. You could do. I get that. But if all these guys are healthy and someone's got to go, and someone is willing to give up a king's ransom for Luis Severino in the event that he's pitching to like a 2.2 ERA in fucking July, I think even if they are winning, I could still see them cutting ties and calling, especially if Scott and Vassell aren't up here yet. I could see them calling one of those guys up and letting Sevy walk. Because as much as the Mets, maybe we've got heightened expectations as opposed to what we had 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. I think we also know that there is a cap with this team. There's a cap. Like, it's not impossible that they go to a World Series. The fucking Diamondbacks did last year. But like, if we're all being honest with each other, I mean, and I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a New York Mets fan. I know pain. I know pain, and I got a PhD in drinking the Kool-Aid, my friends. But if I'm being honest, like, this is not their year. And I think we all know that, and that's okay. Yeah. And I think we just want to see progression. And I think if someone blows your socks off with an offer for Severino, I think you got to take that. You've got to
Depends
take
what
that.
position you are. I mean, you could say that right now on what is this,
That's
March
true. That's true. If we're
2028?
in first
Come
place,
July,
yeah,
come July 17th, whatever the deadline is, July 20th, whatever it is.
right.
We're looking like a team that could, be a 90+ win team. They're talking trading Sevy. You're gonna be, what the fuck are they doing? You're gonna be all
Yeah,
up in arms.
that's a fair point.
You could say it now, but if this team is
I think
legitimately in a hut, you
if
gotta
they're
go
bad,
for it.
he's gone. He's gone no matter what. If he's good
Yeah.
or bad, I think he's.
Oh,
I think,
if he's bad, there's a lot of guys that are gone.
so. And Duran kind of. We'll pull up.
No,
his numbers
I
here.
like that point. I agree with that. McNeil is not a candidate to be traded in season. He's not. He's going to finish the season out, and I think Acuna's the second baseman of the future, assuming everything pans out. And Jet Williams is either assuming Acuna sticks at second. Jet Williams is someone that'll play center or could play second too. And I think Jeff McNeil's time is just about numbered here. I think he could be maybe that ultra utility guy if they want to keep him, but I don't see them paying him that to sit on the bench
I feel like
and play maybe 60 games.
I feel like you just get that vibe when you listen to Jeff McNeil talk, and maybe he's just a little distance from the media.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of his thing. So I don't want to speak for him, but he's a guy I would love. I would love to like sit down, have a beer. You'd probably love to play like 18 rounds with him.
Yeah, holes, 18 holes.
18 holes, rounds, whatever the fuck it is. One round of golf. I don't fucking care. I don't know golf. But he's a guy I would love to sit down and just talk to, because I feel like his name has been brought up for the past like 4 years of like, is this guy going to get traded? When's he going to get traded? Well, he's got value because he hits 300 and
Yeah.
we could get something. If the guy's got value, then maybe he's worth keeping.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good player. How many guys in today's game hit 300? There's not a lot. There's not a lot. There's a guy that won a batting title 2 years ago. He's had his off years. He's had so far in his 6 or 7 year MLB career. We can honestly say he's had 2 off years. Like last year wasn't great, and
Last year wasn't great.
21 was
21, and I think 20 wasn't amazing. I could be wrong.
well, 20 nobody fuck 20. Like who the fuck
Nah,
cares?
no, and that doesn't really
Kobe.
count.
But that's a guy I just see so much value to, and I get it. Like if we trade him, and it's going to happen. Like I
Yeah.
know that, and it'll probably be it'll be for the betterment of this franchise. But
No,
it just sucks because like this
it
is a guy.
sucks. Yeah.
I think he's so underappreciated. He is.
You grow to
so
like these guys, you grow to like these guys, and they become some fan favorites, and just to see them go is kind of shitty. But I think a big part of it too is the fact that Acuna's on the 40-man roster,
Right.
and he's the one that's on the 40-man roster, not Drew Gilbert, not Jet Williams, guys that play other positions where it's like these guys are clearly stopgaps. No, McNeil could be a staple of this team, has been a staple of this team. And for Acuna to be the one that's has the 40-man spot, it's pretty telling that Jeff McNeil is not a long-term solution for this team. Like, if you're a Jeff McNeil fan, I'm sorry to tell you, maybe find someone else to be a fan of on this team, because you're going to be disappointed when he's off the team, maybe as soon as the deadline this year, if not, probably in the offseason. Assuming Acuna really develops.
He's another one you never know. We hope that Gilbert's ready. Like we hope
Gilbert's close.
He's close, but like we hope that he continues that progression.
No.
I mean, for all we know, something happens to Marte early on, and they have to move Nimmo. They have to move McNeil to the outfield. Maybe they flip flop McNeil and Nimmo, like, and now somebody's forced into second base. So you really never know with these things. But I would say, if I would agree with you, if you were a big fan of Jeff McNeil, cherish whatever you've got left, because he's probably going somewhere else. And I'll be honest, I'll be really upset when that day comes. I love Jeff McNeil.
I love Jeff McNeil.
I love him. I think he's so underappreciated, but it's something that I think is probably necessary for the progression of this franchise.
Yeah, I love him and his questionable car choices.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. A 4-cylinder Bronco. I don't understand. McNeil covers your ass in a lot of ways, and his contract doesn't burn a hole in your wallet, so the trade has to be so worth it. He's very valuable depth guy in his later career. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, no one's advocating to show him the door. And I think if you
No.
are advocating to show him the door, you just don't know baseball, because I don't care how much we talk about stolen base. I mean, actually, stolen bases are important, but I don't care how much we talk about home runs and power. There is a fucking place in this game for guys that make contact and hit 300. And you know
No.
what? If I could draw a parallel, maybe in basketball, it's a guy that plays tremendous defense and gets a lot of rebounds. I think in football, it's a wide receiver that blocks his fucking ass off and may not be the fastest guy, but catches everything you throw at him. Like for me, Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden's that guy. He's one of my favorite wide receivers I've ever watched play. And I don't think he was he was talented, but I don't think he was. This isn't a football podcast. The point is that Anquan Bolden caught what I was so amazed about is that I think I think I've seen more I think I've seen more unicorns than I have seen dropped passes thrown to Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
Like, the guy caught everything, and I appreciate that, because as a football fan, there's nothing more frustrating than a guy that drops the ball on third down. And it's the same thing in baseball. There's nothing more frustrating with 2 outs and a runner on third, and you're down by a run, you're down by 2 runs, it's late in the game, and Dom Smith would do this all the fucking time.
Strikeout looking.
No, not just strikeout. He would either strike out or he would pop up deep to center field. And you're looking at him going, you motherfucker, if you just make contact. And that's what Jeff McNeil does. That's what Jeff does. And I think the reason he doesn't put up a lot of those RBIs is because you're moving this guy around in the order every fucking week. He's not really in a consistent spot. He's either at the bottom. Sometimes he's batting second. Sometimes very rarely he's leading off. He's either batting second or he's batting like 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, or not 9th, but like 6th, 6th or 7th. You're not gonna hit a lot of RBIs batting 6th or 7th. You're just not, unless you're a power hitter.
No, I mean, his game isn't driving in runs, but his game is getting on base and working accounts.
I disagree with you. Contact. I disagree with you on that, because I think if he came up to the plate with a runner on second. Like, if there is a gun to your head, there's a gun to your head. If we're just talking about careers here, and let's exclude a superstar in Francisco Lindor. Outside of, because Lindor has come up in the clutch quite a bit in his career. Pete has here and there, but Steve. Who on the, if there's a gun to your head, who do you want to come up to the plate? Like, there's a runner on third, 2 outs, and you just need a hit. You need a hit. Doesn't matter what, you just need a hit. You want Jeff McNeil. That's my point. To me, that's valuable. That's a guy that's so valuable, but it will be necessary to part ways, and I understand that. But there is a place for guys like that in this game.
Guys like that don't grow on trees, and it's going to suck to see him go, but it is what it is. It's going to be the natural progression of this team, and it's the writing's on the wall.
So I've got one last thing here.
What do you got for us?
And it's a question I just thought about while we were talking, and I can't think of an answer to. How long will Zach Short be on this team?
Wow.
Not a complaint. Just, I think we as Met fans are probably all shocked that he made this team.
I don't know. I really don't.
And not that Zach doesn't deserve to be here. That's not what I'm saying, but he's a young guy. You thought they would have put him back in the minors. You thought Vientos would maybe be here or someone else, but Zach Short's here. And he's here for his defensive versatility, bunch of other things. But how long is this guy here? Is this an experiment and they're going to call up Vientos or they're going to call up somebody else? Because they released, I saw they released Luke Voigt, I think yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days
Luke
ago.
Voigt was cut. Zach Short, that's an interesting one. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, you have Joey Wendell who plays third and second. Does Zach Short play shortstop a bit? Not 100%.
I don't know if he plays short.
I don't know his game that much, to be completely honest. I know he's a decent defender. He's not much of a hitter. I think he's an okay at the plate. He seems like a career quadruple A kind of guy. But I really don't know. It's a weird person to call up. I was expecting Vientos to break camp. I was expecting Trace Thompson or a fifth outfielder of some sorts. I just wasn't expecting them to carry an extra infielder. Or if they were, I was expecting someone like Jose Iglesias. So I think it's just kind of a test run to see what happens. Maybe someone that you're maybe a little more comfortable with at third base as opposed to Joey Wendell. I don't know. That's a good question. I think time will tell. I think this is kind of a wait and see approach with this kind of deal. Maybe they keep DJ Stewart to keep the extra left-handed bat up here, and Zach Short's just here until JD Martinez comes up. I don't know.
I was shocked to see it happen.
And defensive replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that defensive replacement, but like, you have Wendell that could play third. Not that I mean, I don't know who plays a better third, Wendell or Short, but it's a question I literally just thought of, and I genuinely have no answer to. Like,
No,
because
I
I just don't see him being here all season. Like, I would be shocked
probably not, but
if he was here,
who
unless he
knows?
just lights it up. But and honestly, good for him. Good for
Yeah.
him. But
hey, he got called up too. I think his grandmother just passed away, right?
yeah, his
Was it?
grandmother
So, I mean,
just passed away on the same day that he got called up. So that was definitely a nice, touching story, and that was cool. But my dog's barking. I think that's our cue here to wrap things up. Bass, are we predicting a win tomorrow?
of course. I got money on it, so it's gonna happen.
Okay.
I got a big game tomorrow. Expect a lot of runs.
Bass is a career 23% gambler. He's a big mush, so you want to make some money, bet again. No, I'm kidding.
Bet against me. I looked
bet
at the
against-
stats. I'm down $900 on FanDuels in my career, so
Yeah. You're down what?
900.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
But still bet
No.
against me.
What? Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like, you're a mush, but all right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Great numbers. The numbers keep increasing every episode, so that's great. We appreciate you guys chiming in here. Duran Rivera, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks,
Bunch of
Duran,
comments here. That was
Stevie,
great. Stevie
Aaron.
Mack. So thank
You
you,
guys are
everybody. We won't see you this weekend. I guess we'll figure something out next week. We're gonna hope to do something at least once every series this season. I think
Yeah.
that's a good goal to set. So we will see you all later. Thank you for tuning in, and let's fucking go Mets.